And welcome this morning to another day of course, the Dream 11 Spiceisle 10 T10. This is season number 5, and today's match would feature Cinnamon Pacers against Ginger Generals. The players are already out there, the officials, the umpires are there, and soon we'll be getting ready for the start. Let's give you the lineup for the Ginger General: Johan Jeremiah, Jonel Eugene, Dennis George, Jared Gilks, Jarrell Jeremiah, Laurie Williams, Ronald Williams, Davis Charles, Anil Matthew, Kishon Abraham, and Jonathan Taylor. That's the lineup for the Ginger Generals. Well, for the Cinnamon Pacers, so we've got Ryan John, who's the captain, of course, Shondell Regis, Daniel Williams, Asif Hooper, Nkosi St-Hilaire, Chiron Noel, Kirsten Murray, Kevon Bartholomew, Jamal Francis, Isaiah Simon, and Che Duncan. So that's the lineup for Nawasa Cinnamon Pacers. And here is the first ball of the match, which is slanting down the leg side and lift that down to the fine leg area. Pull back just inside, and they will come back for what would be the second run. Badly lined first up delivery, and the umpires just signal that that's leg by. So the Cinnamon Pacers, they're off the mark, and because the St-Hilaire, who's had a reasonable good tournament so far, faded away but had a very good opening game. Driven over the infield, and that's going to go down to the long on boundary for 4. Well, aggressive intention here by St-Hilaire, who has changed in his approach over the years. He's been much more aggressive in his approach. Good morning to Justin Hector.
Yes, good morning, Pastor. And of course, too, there's a change at the top of the order. Of course, Shondell Regis, Asif Hooper has been brought up, and Regis have struggled a bit to really get the ball off in previous games. And this is one of the changes we're seeing from the Cinnamon Pacers.
Yeah, I think that's what's all about. You got to, as a captain and as a team, make necessary changes. Sometimes you've got to change left and right combinations, as we're seeing there now. Hooper, who is a left-handed batsman, of course, St-Hilaire right-handed. And so it would call on the bowler to change his line predominantly. And sometimes, according to the batsman taking strike, you have to change your length too. Here's Williams. Hooper is heaving at that one outside the off stump. You could see his aggressive intention rather early. You suspect that the Pacers have come out here in a positive frame of mind.
Of course, I think that's the first action that Larry Williams is also seen in the tournament.
Again, looking for the big swing, but there was a bit of lateral movement, Justin, as the ball touched down, moved away from the left-handed batsman, taken behind the stumps.
Yes, it is getting some movement away from the left-hander and into the right-hander. In fact, we saw it when he was bowling to St-Hilaire. And certainly he will be encouraged by that. Some indecision on the part of Asif Hooper there. Again, another good delivery. Just pitch on around the off stump. And ball coming off the outer portion of the bat. He was rather tentative. Didn't really come forward. And went down to Ferdman to bring up the end of the over. So at the end of 1, it's 8 for no loss. 5 is St-Hilaire, and Asif Hooper is 1.
Yeah, but you could see the intent of both players want to get off after the bowling rather early. There were some misses by Hooper. But it's a good start after 1 over.
So,
Taylor will be bowling from the far end, and he'll be getting ready to bowl to Hooper, who is 1 of 3. Here he is. Delivery that was pacey. There's height attached to it. I think Hooper's got to be careful here. He's obviously come out in an aggressive manner, but he wants to be careful not to try to hit the ball too hard. That's important. Keep your eyes on the ball. Don't lose your shape. Go hard, yes, but don't try to overhit the ball. This one he hits down to backward point. Well, down to deepish cover rather. Gets a single. So Hooper's now moved on to 5. We're in over number 2. The cozy Saint-Hilaire comes into strike. Takes what looks to be a middle stump guard. It was very overcast and still remains overcast this morning, Justin, with some overnight showers, not torrential. Delivery outside the arm, some wide signal by the umpire. But these clouds are hovering. They're not what you may call dangerous clouds because they're not wet. We've been here for the last 45 or so minutes and we've not had any rain. Oh, that's one. There's an appeal for cut behind. The umpire is not interested. Pacey delivery too. He's really charging in, Taylor. That one bunks. Keeper had to really stretch to take it. Bit of a mid-pitch dialogue between the two.
that's usually with batters. Where he was actually holding on the replay doesn't even seem like that's where you were actually struck.
This time it may have hit maybe the bottom edge. Yeah, he is in fact favoring that right shoulder.
The collarbone more towards the collarbone. They were, well, in this case, probably a bony song after the ball would have struck him.
Yeah, that's why I guess it took off. I just thought that the ball made quite a bit of height. So it hit the shoulder, and the keeper, Matthew, had to really stretch to get it. Outside the arm stump, off the back foot, and cuts that down to backward point. And they will... Did they come back? Was the catch taken?
Catch was taken down there.
Yeah, it was taken. Now we want to apologize to our viewers really because we don't see the entire field because of where we're faced geographically in the commentary booth. So that went down to maybe third man area, and the catch was taken. So they've lost their first wicket with 11 on the board. Hooper looking to cut that down to backward point, and the ball taking more a healthy edge and went down to third man, the catch taken. So Cinnamon Pacers, they've lost their first wicket.
Yeah, and still no real production from the other end. Hooper, of course, would have started at the top for Shondell Regis, who haven't really produced, and he too is gone early, so they will have to again continue to build on the middle order. Of course, there's still Saint-Hilaire is still out there, and he has been the the one person who has stood up and brought some respectability to the Cinnamon Pacers' scores in recent time. Is there to see how it will go.
Daniel Williams has has replaced. And he has replaced Cooper. And he's going to be facing his first delivery from Taylor. Pushes it up on the offside. Thought about a single, made a few exploratory steps. But it was great work by Taylor on his follow-through, who ran very quickly and cut off what was a possible single. Good cricket, really good cricket.
So this brought up a good over by Taylor. And this over we saw the wicket of Asif Hooper, who was caught by Larry Williams down on the third man boundary. And he was only able to contribute 2 runs, so he was gone for 2. It's 11 for 1 at the start, and we're about to see the start of over number 3.
So Taylor's picked up 1 for 3. We've seen the batsmen playing and missing several times this morning. Again, just wondering if they're seeking to hit the ball too hard. There's Williams again. Wayward delivery down the leg side. Matthew dances across to his left and collects rather smoothly. 1 more to the total. Is now pushed on to 12. Here's Williams again. Tugs down to square leg. The return comes in. It was a sharp one. Good feeling there. Didn't make out the feel of it. He had to come around very quickly, picked up and then hurled the return.
That was Gerald Jeremiah. And if he had hit, Delay would have been gone for all good. He was never going to get back. However, Jeremiah missed and he survived.
Yeah. Good feeling, really good feeling. Off the back foot and slaps that ball down to long on. Will get a comfortable single. So it's a good, really good opening performance, bowling performance by Ginger General so far. They've restricted Cinnamon Pacers to 13 for 1, and we're into the 3rd. Well bowled, really well bowled. He might well have been expecting that ball with the natural handedness of the left arm seamer to come into him, but it touched down and moved away. Beautifully bowled.
Well, you probably could not ask for better conditions to bowl in. It's cool, it's overcast, and we've seen probably for the first time in the tournament really the ball swinging quite a bit.
Off the back foot, ball goes down to third man. I'm not sure that's exactly where he wanted it to go, but it was off the outside edge and went down to the third man boundary. There is a gully in place, but that went to his right and sped its way to the boundary. 4 runs to Williams.
Yeah, but unlucky there. Again, probably just beaten a bit by the ball leaving the left-hander. He just pawed at it and it went through the gap between the keeper, of course, and the gully and picked up a boundary.
Yeah, a slip has been placed in now after what happened with that previous delivery. Maybe you can say it's more reactionary than anything else. There's Williams again. Opens the face of the bat and Pushes it down to, in fact, goes all the way for 4. Well, he opened the face of the bat and just seemed to glide it down to backward point, third man area. And the fielder coming from the backward point area had to travel maybe about 20 yards, but wasn't able to pull that back. The timing was superb. At first, it looked more like a single or 2. Yielded 4. 3 overs gone. It's 21 for 1.
Yes, and again, appreciable movement there for Williams. And the ball coming up looking more like the outer portion of the batter, and again going through the backward of point area and picking up 4. So we'll be happy with that. Williams, he has gone on to 8. And Nkosi Sentile, who is on 7, will come back into strike. And it's 21 for 1 after 3.
Pulled in the air. How far would that go? Does it go all the way? Yes, it does. For a Carib maximum. Carib hip maximum. It was short. Onto the back foot he rocked and didn't look to roll the wrist over it. Wanted it to go airborne. Wanted it to clear the boundary, and it did. Fine shot.
His shots have been basically the trademark of Saint-Hilaire so far throughout the tournament. We've seen him play a number of shots similar to this. Anything basically on the body. He has managed this to dispatch. So it's 27 for 1 after this guy maximum. So Saint-Hilaire goes on to 13.
Yeah, Justin, you saw the intention. You know, with short deliveries, sometimes batsmen would want to get on top of it and roll the wrist. Saint-Hilaire didn't have nothing like that in mind. He wanted to lift that out of the ground. And he certainly did. This is our first change of ball for the morning. We had several yesterday. So this tournament, you obviously got to have a lot of reserve balls. Several of them has gone into the river area and other areas of the ground and were not retrieved. But I think they've retrieved this one, haven't they? Yes.
I don't.
Yeah,
they
hats
probably
off
did.
to the umpires. I think Justin, they've done a great job. So just a little hold up after that 6 struck by Saint-Hilaire. The ball has been retrieved. So it's going to be Taylor once more. Into his second over. First one yielded only yielded 3. Wide signal by the umpire, just too far outside the off stump.
But Taylor on this occasion going back to probably the area where we have seen Saint-Hilaire demise throughout the tournament so far, maybe just short and just a bit outside the off stump. But whenever they've been straight on the body, it has certainly been very devastating.
Just pushes the ball out to cover. Decided against the second run. Now brings Williams into strike. Williams has got 8 of 4. Saint-Hilaire 14 of 10. Taylor into his second. He's picked up the prize wicket of Asif Hooper. He's going to be moving in now to bowl to Danny Williams. Good delivery. Well played too. Short onto the chest area. And Williams just jumping onto the back foot. But played it skillfully too. While defending, still had the presence of mind to open the face of the bat and glide it just a squarish cover. Got a comfortable single. So there is good rotation in the strike here. But they need to be reminded that they need to have a boundary at least in every over. That's important. Slashed or attempted slash, but in the end tugged it down to long on and gets a single. I don't think that's where he really wanted to hit that, but in the end it was slapped down to long on. Current run rate 8.45. That's not bad, but they would want to bring that up to the 10 mark. Williams hits that in the air. The catch is taken, gone. Well, that was close to the body. And he was looking to pull that maybe in front of square. Ball wasn't cued all that well. It just looked so awkward. That ball got bing on him. And the catch taken quite comfortably. So another wicket has gone. There's Williams just been dismissed. And so the Cinnamon Pacers, they're now 31 for 2.
They have been plagued by that type of situation for a long time, where they've been losing wickets at very crucial times, and the trend continues. In fact, that ball, as you did say, got very big on him. Probably just some inward movement towards the left-hander probably, and cramping him for room, and all he can do is to pop it up on the onside. So, and Gerald Jeremiah was had a pretty busy morning so far. Took an easy catch, and certainly the Ginger Generals will be very happy with the way things have gone so far.
So out went Williams, and Cabon Bartholomew has now come in to replace him. So the advantage here just seemed to be the Generals. So they've got to do some repairing here, these two, in Bartholomew and St. Hilaire. Pulls that down to the mid-wicket area, will get one, and they should be coming back. No, they decided against it. Just thought there might have been sufficient time to scamper for 2. They took only 1.
So Bartholomew has come in. He did play a plucky little innings yesterday, and probably they would be hoping that he will stick around a bit and will, give them at least some impetus. Right now, they need to really kick on. They need to get a move on, because it's 4 overs gone, 32 for 2. Currently scoring at 8 runs and over. At that rate, they will get to about 80, but you will want to get close to 100 or beyond 100 to feel that he has a chance. So now it's Eugene who will come into the attack. And had a very good outing yesterday. Bartholomew is on 1. St. Hilaire is on 15. And that delivery driven back up towards the bowler by Bartholomew.
Yeah, so spin introduced for the first time this morning. Oh, that was dangerous. Looking to make room, pulling outside the leg stump. Didn't make contact, but that was close. Well bowled, Eugene. He's keeping this simple. Oh, that came back a long way. That was beautifully bowled. Pitch way outside the off stump, and that broke back. I think really, that Bartholomew himself was very, very surprised that he got such great turn. Maybe just hitting the rough, and because of the prodigious turn of the last delivery, the previous delivery, now he was a bit tentative as to what he should do.
Indeed he was, and this one not turning, I expecting it probably again to turn sharply and bounce as it did. This time it almost went on with the arm, so really good bowling, good thinking on the part of Eugene.
This time he sweeps down to the deep mid-wicket boundary, and they will in fact come back for what would be the second run.
Bartholomew, they're making the adjustment. The ball is turning in sharply. Therefore, he is going with the tide, with the turn, and playing it towards the mid-wicket area. You get the feeling that the first two he was looking to play through the offside. And here, this time, on this occasion.
This is a good contest. It really is. Final delivery. And again, looking to pull that, sweep that down rather to mid-wicket. Fine over coming to an end. Really good over there by Eugene. He is gone for only 2 in his over, and I'm sure that Jeremiah would be happy with the performance of his off-spinner.
Yes, and 34 for 2. So at the moment, the run rate isn't really going anywhere quickly. And, they would want to ensure that they push that on.
So spin from both ends. And how remarkable spin has turned out to be in the tournament. A lot of wickets have been captured. Dennis George, who bowled pretty well yesterday, picked up 1 for 10 of his bowling. Outside the off stump onto the back foot and hits that down to the deep cover boundary, and in fact goes all the way for 4. Rocked onto the back foot, was a bit short, and spang that through the offside. Well, really, his economy rate was 10 yesterday, beg your pardon. George. Did it go all the way? No, actually, it was stopped just inside, sorry. So 2, they were able to get. This time he's pulling that down to the deep mid-wicket boundary and could get a single. So both deliveries a bit on the shorter side. Usually George will tend to throw the ball up, but he's a little bit shorter in length this morning in contrast to yesterday. Let's see what he's going to do with this one. Generous flight, lifts that high down to the long off boundary, and well, the catch has been taken quite simply and nonchalantly. And it just seems that he's a bit more dangerous when he is pitching the ball up. That was pitched up. And he came forward and lifted it. Bartholomew wasn't able to clear the long off field. Look at how much flight he gave it. And he stayed from there rather than maybe moving into the pitch of the delivery. Now, let's talk about this a little, Justin. Now, he stayed there and lifted it. Might it have been better for him to maybe just move into the shot where he'll get better momentum rather than staying there and trying to force the pace of the ball over the boundary line? So they've lost their 3rd wicket as Bartholomew goes 37 now for 3 and brings the skipper Ryan John into the wicket. Can we have a special from him today? You look at Dennis George, he's as simple as ever, as cool and calm as cucumber. He's in now and bowls to John. First delivery to John. And he gets onto the back foot and turns up to mid-wicket. Gets a comfortable single. That one was a little bit faster through the air. Flatter trajectory. This is turning out to be a really interesting contest. We're in over number 6. Off the back foot goes Saint-Hilaire and hits the ball down to a deep extra cover. Gets a single. So he's 1 for 5 so far in this first over. It's George. Left arm wrong the wicket. Turns it up to mid-wicket and gets a single. So that completes the over of Dennis George. A very good over too, yielding only 6. And at the end of 6 overs, with a run rate 6.67, Cinnamon Pacers, they're 40 for 3.
Yeah, 40 for 3, and not probably quite going at the rate that they would like to. And they have lost 3 wickets. And of the batsmen trying to go long, to go big. So Saint-Hilaire is not out at 19. Asif Hooper went early. Caught Larry Williams, bowled Jonathan Taylor. Daniel Williams has caught Jeremiah, bowled Taylor again. So Taylor picking up 2 so far. And Bartholomew, he too went caught on the long off boundary.
So Dennis George in that previous over, of course, using all his skill and experience, cool, calm, and calculated. So Ronald Williams, of course, is into his first over. Short delivery that he hits very well for 4. That was short, and he went onto the back foot, didn't try to hit that too hard, but just creamed it through the offside, and it went through wideish long off for 4. Nice shot, really nice shot by John. It stood up, and he smacked it. He's got an important role to play here, is Ryan John. There's Williams again to bowl to him. Plays it out on the outside. They go through for a comfortable single. This is good batting by John. Not trying to hit everything out of the park, but if the ball is good and needs a certain degree of respect, then he pays that to the bowler. And that was just pushed out on the offside for a single. Good batting, Justin.
Yes, indeed. You know, got to treat good balls still as good deliveries, still as good deliveries.
This is Williams this time to Saint-Hilaire off the back foot. He was just pulling outside the off stump and looking to give himself room to smack that through the offside. I would like to see, Justin, the old-fashioned cut shot. I see a lot of the players these days pulling so far outside the off stump that very often they miss it. What about the back and across and getting over the top of the ball and cutting it in front or behind square? Now that's what I'm talking about. That delivery was wide enough for him to go across and cut, but he's pulling away outside the leg stump. Now how are you going to reach that? And even if you do, you probably wouldn't get the kind of power that you want into it. You've got to go back and look at the videos of the great cutters of the past. In my mind, go to Gordon Greenwich. This time he pulls that in the air. How far that's going to go? Will the catch be taken? No, it's dropped down at the deep mid-wicket boundary. Saint-Hilaire is upset with himself, but well, you gotta just praise your lucky stars. It was in the air for a long time. Now let's look at it. Lifted it from outside the off stump, didn't cue it all that well, and the ball staying very long in the air, and in and out. That should have been taken. I think that Justin Hector, even right now, in his time would have taken that.
Indeed, and another chance given again to Nikosi Sentile. And last time he was given a chance, he did make the opposition pay. And Joel Jeremiah, of all persons, who have had a fairly good morning so far. He so far had one catch and a near run out, and were very much doing lots of fielding. Just grasped this one. And immediately after that, maximum by Ryan John. So the 50 has come up.
Yeah. So the 50 has come up in exactly 7 overs, 50 for 3. They've got 3 overs remaining. And can they get, let's say, maybe another 40 runs from these 3? But Dennis George will be bowling his second over. What would they do? This is going to be, I think, a good contest here. Will he be faster through the air? Would he throw it up? What would he do? Wrong the wicket. This one is looking to be pulled down to backward square. The ball cannons into the pad and the bat flies out of his hand rather than going in the direction the ball should have gone. Just tells you maybe how hard he wanted to hit that one, Justin.
It's probably just sweating a bit and sipperness with the glove. Ooh.
Bad delivery, full toss, and help down to the long leg area. That's gone for 4 runs. Just inside, the umpire just hung on a bit there just to confirm. So has he changed it? So let's see where it went. Did it go all the way?
It went all the way. And the question would be probably a question of height, but we haven't seen any indication. But, very close to the waist it was. It went all the way for 6, and already Joel Jeremiah must be feeling the pain now of letting off Nikosi Saint-Hilaire.
Yeah. There is George to Saint-Hilaire, and he tugs that one. Oh, maybe coming off the pad. Let's see what the umpire would say. Yes, it's a leg by. Gets it to a short, fine leg.
Don't get too straight.
So, a wide and a 6 and a let by. Makes room outside the off stump is John and smacks that down to the deep extra cover position. They come back for the second. The return comes in and they get 2. Well, there's a bit of pressure cricket there. It's interesting. I don't think that George was as close to the wicket as he really should have been. Or maybe he saw that the throw was not necessarily good. John looking to heave that over long on. He's a big, strong man, is John. Can hit the ball hard. And he's in an aggressive frame of mind. He knows that he's got to push this total on. Delivery down the leg side wide, signaled by the umpire. He was making room outside the leg stump. And so George saw him make that initial movement and slanted it even further down the leg side. George to John, pulls down to the backward square area, and that's going to go for 4. Short, got the treatment it deserved, rocked on the back foot, and it was sufficiently short enough for him to stay leg side and still swing it to backward square.
Yeah, probably just getting into the head of George there. Ryan John has been moving around the crease quite a bit, making it a little bit difficult for George to really find a target. And as a result, he has gotten away with a couple. Good shot for 4. And there's also a 6 in the over, so probably the most expensive over so far of the match.
Well, what should happen, Justin, when a player is moving around the crease so much? How much does it affect the bowler?
It does affect some bowlers. Some bowlers remain very focused and they would still bowl the delivery towards the as straight as possible. Because you want to still be on the stump to a certain extent, and if the batsman probably misses, then you hit. Still, the principle still should remain.
So 2 runs coming off that final delivery from George. Very expensive second over. Yeah, there's some bowlers who are mature enough not to allow the movement of the batsman to in any way distract them. You decide exactly what you want to do. And you've got to be careful not to wait just at that point of delivery to make a change. When you're moving into bowl, you must be deciding at that point, Justin, exactly where you'd want to pitch the ball.
Well, what is amazing about this is that most batsmen in this case will back away towards the leg side, but bowlers then will complement that movement by trying to bowl the ball still very close to them, in a way so as to probably, as they say, to cramp them. Instead of probably, most of these, once again, the bat of has flown out of his hand. So as I was
It's not
saying,
very often you see that, Justin, where the bat is being flung out of the hand of the batsman. That's the second time. So we want to advise any close-in fielders to be very careful because St. Hilaire's flung that bat a couple of times. It's been released from his hands. They will get a single. So it's two things. Either the glove is rather wet, or he's not gripping the bat tight enough, or maybe there's a combination of both.
probably the pressures of wanting to hit the ball so hard, he's looking a little bit sloppy, a little bit out of position most of the time.
I agree with that. He's lost his shape a lot. He's 27 of 21. And that is because he's trying to hit the ball too hard. You'd be advised to time it rather than trying to hit it hard. That delivery is pulled down to the long, deep mid-wicket boundary. I think it may have touched the rope after having been dropped. It may have touched the rope. Yes, the umpires just signaled 4. It should have been taken, so that's a second miss. Let's look at it.
He's done some damage.
It was a difficult catch, yes. I must admit.
Certainly has done some damage to the hand. And must have done some damage to the fingers. A lot more difficult than the previous one, though.
Yes.
This time it was low to his right. It was struck with some power too by Ryan John. And he was right back on the boundary. And lucky too that he didn't make contact with it while his foot was over the rope.
You know, every time I see Ryan John bat, I always think about Andre Russell. They've got similar mannerism. Look at how he holds the bat. Now, in preparation for the bowler, similar to that of Andre Russell. And they're both big men. Russell tends to maybe have a slightly lower stand. Tends to be low. Maybe just a little lower. This one is tugged down to mid-wicket. And they won't come back for the second. So Ryan John, a bit of a cameo here. He's 24 of 11. We're into over number 9. Bowled by Eugene, who has bowled pretty well. He's gotten some turn. It's concentrated just outside the off stump. Looking to cut and does that too. They get one, won't come back for the second. The return comes into Matthew. Pretty good one. So conditions have remained the same, rather cloudy and hazy. But no indication of rain. That's good. Wide. Signal by the umpire outside the off stump, just too far. I think it's a ploy here by Eugene.
But I think Eugene is complaining, and rightly so, because John moved pretty early outside the off stump. And you know, with the rule change now, with the batsman move, the ball, the line of the ball, the line automatically moves with the batsman.
This has been very good bowling by Eugene. It really has been an admirable couple of overs that he has bowled. He hasn't picked up a wicket, but he's gone for 11 of 2. And so after 9 overs, Cinnamon Pacers, they're 76 for 3. I think it's a bit under par.
Yes, it is. Although the Ginger General themselves haven't batted very well throughout most of the tournament, probably except one yesterday when they would have posted a decent enough score. But outside of that, it will make still, I think, for an interesting chase if the Ginger General do not really get it all together with the batting also.
Yeah, quite interesting. Just 1 over to go. They would want to make this a big over to end up maybe with close to 90. Anything just about 85 will be considered not a good total. At the end of 10, your run rate should not be under 10 if you want it to be a good fighting total. So here's the final over coming up. Short outside the off stump, hit down to extra cover.
And hit straight to extra cover too.
Oh yeah, the ball traveled straight. So John has gone. Just sort of lost sight for a bit. Straight to extra cover and the catch has been taken. So John has gone for 25 of 12. That's a big, big blow for Cinnamon Pacers because he was really traveling along. And Ginger Generals will be happy with this first ball dismissal in the 10th over.
Yes, and a smart catch too being taken down there by Jilks. It was hit hard though. He did give it a thump and picked up rather easily there.
Yeah, he took it nonchalantly, though. Yes, it was hit rather hard.
Yes, and John goes, and just now Regis coming in. So he didn't come out at the top of the innings. He has come out now with the last over. Not much he can do at this stage in terms of getting himself set. He will have to go from ball 1.
And that doesn't really help a lot for his confidence either, having been dropped down the batting lineup. And now he has basically just 5 balls remaining in the innings. And more likely, he won't face all 5. Here's Williams into his second over. He has 1 for 10 so far into bowl to Regis. Regis is driving well, and that goes for 4. Fine shot. Pitched up. And he came forward and drove that neatly, sweetly. And it went through the offside, through extra cover, all along the ground. It's a perfect extra cover drive by the left-handed batsman. He's off the mark. Off his first ball, he's gone for 4. Gone to 4. Well played. This time he hits it over the bowler's head. They're going to come back for the second. They've got to hurry. They get there quite comfortably. The return coming into Matthew, but sufficient time for them to cross for 2. So 2 scoring shots so far has yielded 6, a boundary and then 2. William goes back. 3 legal deliveries remaining. In and bowls to Regis. Regis is hitting that in the air. The catch is taken there at extra cover. So another wicket goes down. This time Regis, who's very, very brief at the crease. Caught there at extra cover. The catch taken so easily. And so Regis got to go. And the Cinnamon Pacers, they've lost another wicket. They're now 82 for 5 and just a couple of deliveries remaining.
Yes, and of course, just looking to go big. He really didn't have a choice. There's a few deliveries left in the in the innings. He had to go for it. Of course, as I said earlier, not featuring at the top of the innings. And all he managed to do is to sky it out towards extra cover where Johan Jeremiah took a rather simple catch, just having to walk in a couple steps.
So Jay Duncan makes his way out. He's got just 2 deliveries to face from Ronald Williams, who's done well, 2 for 16. So into his second. It's been a clinical bowling display by the Ginger Generals. Outside the off stump, big swing. Doesn't make contact. I think he played over the top of the ball. Douglas is a big man. Can give it a punch. It was short. His eyes lit up. And he was looking to maybe heave that somewhere over long on. Didn't make contact. So here's the final delivery coming up. Final legal delivery. Williams will turn from the top of his mark and he will move into bowl to Duncan. Let's see what Duncan will do with this one. Duncan is that out to extra cover. And can't score. So that completes. Is there one more to go? No, that
that's the end
completes
of
it.
the over.
They did get a single. So 83 for 5. That the final total. So let's look at the bowling here with the Cinnamon Pacers having scored 85 for 5. The Ginger Generals, they've bowled very well in the 10 overs. Williams none for 16. Taylor had 2 for 14. Eugene bowled very well, none for 11 of his 2, but really was economical. 1 for 22, Dennis George, a bit expensive considering, but he picked up 1 wicket. And Ronald Williams had 2 for 17 of 2. So only Dennis George going into the double figures in regards to bowling. In the terms of the batting department, well, Nicosi St-Hilaire, 28 of 22, didn't really strike the ball as well as he would have liked. 25 went to Ryan John before he was caught up by Johan Jeremiah of the bowling of Williams. So those were the 2 top scorers who got into the double figures. The others never got off the single digit. In the end, 83 for 5, 83 for 5 of 10 overs. The Cinnamon Pacers, the Ginger Generals, well, they've got a modest total and they've got to score at some 8.4 runs per over. I think that's gettable, but already the Cinnamon Pacers, they've got their runs on the board. The Ginger Generals will have to chase. So, just to repeat, Ginger Generals, they need 84 to win 10 overs. We'll be back for the run chase.
Yeah. Hold on. Right. Yes. Go ahead.
Welcome back here. The Pacers against the Ginger Generals. And, well, just missed. Well, you didn't miss the ball, really. You probably missed our voice. Our voices. Ginger Generals won without loss. Asif Hooper looking to cut that delivery. Hits it hard into the ground. This Anil Matthew. Matthew and Jeremiah goes opening the innings short, and ball may have just come in onto him with the arm, just making room. So many of these players looking to make room outside the leg stump, even at times deliveries that are coming into them. Well bowled by Hooper. Hooper very busy, and that delivery is pulled down, tugged down to the deep mid-wicket boundary for 4. Well, he got under that one and lifted it. We're in the power play, so he's got to capitalize on the restriction, the field restriction. This one was lifted down to the also sort of deep backward square area, and was able to pick up 4 runs. Hooper again, bowls, and he's pulling again, pulling well with same result. No, pull back just inside. Good movement down on the deep square leg, the deep mid-wicket boundary. So that completes the first over. Pretty good one by Hooper. Ginger Generals. 6 without loss. Hooper seemed to be intent on getting through very quickly with his over, and just not giving the batsman much time to settle.
At all. And but the batsman must realize that as far as Hooper is bowling is concerned, he will consistently be slanting the ball into the right-handers, and hardly ever any turn really, darting it in, slanting it in. So one expects, as probably Matthew did in the latter stages of the over, just go with the flow, just go with the direction in which the ball is going. And he did look to back away, which is not the ideal way to deal with deliveries of that sort.
So Noel will be bowling to Anil Matthew, who gets onto the back foot and hit that very well. Now that's a lovely shot. It really is a lovely shot. It wasn't a perilously short delivery, you know. Let's look at it there. But short enough, he swiveled and pulled it just to the right of the square leg umpire, and it raced across the turf for 4. Fine shot. Well played. Really well played. This time looking to take that from outside the arse stump and lift it over mid-wicket. Missed it. Collected behind the stumps. Noel again. To Matthew. Oh, beautifully bowled. There is an appeal for stumping. There is an appeal for stumping, and there is a quest to go upstairs.
You wonder if it's for stumping or a caught behind. The ball drifted away from the right-hander. And yes, he did appeal for something where he did hit the stump also. Broke the bails. And
well, the umpire said not out.
So it's a close thing. Very, very close.
Maybe that back leg was still stayed in the crease.
Yeah, one close one there for Matthew.
Yeah, but it was beautifully bowled. Noel. Driving
And
in
straight
the
to the
air,
man.
straight to extra cover, gone. Well, as if to say, you didn't get stumped, but I'm going to prize you out there. Was driving. And first wicket going down, Matthews gone for 9 in the second over. And he really played almost like a nothing shot there. Never got to the pitch of the ball and was looking to force it. Just
Maybe,
wonder how many of these guys love batting.
maybe it's a demonstration of guilt. Maybe he thought he should have gone the previous delivery. So in order to formalize everything, he said, well, okay, if you wouldn't put me out, I'll give myself a good chance of getting out.
Interesting,
Just hit
Justin.
it straight out to Bartholomew. Yeah, it was a really another shot. It wasn't there at all. Just looking to force it. And could only have found Bartholomew there at extra cover.
Yeah, that was irony, though. Really ironical.
Yes, and
Well, all is well that ends well, I'm
yes.
sure Noel will say.
In these conditions, too, Pastor, for teams batting second, I think it is vitally important to keep an eye on the Duckworth Lewis pass scores. They're on 10. They should have been on 13 at this stage. So we keep an eye on that. If it should rain all of a sudden.
Yes, but the condition has been overcast for the entire morning so far, and it doesn't look like changing, not in a hurry. Left alone outside the off stump.
So we have the Jeremiah brothers now over
Yes.
there. Maybe we haven't seen them long enough. We went very, very close behind each other in
Terrell
previous
coming
game.
forward, looking for his first run, but prevented there with the ball just pushed up to extra cover. So the over has come to an end. 2 overs gone? Yes, 2 overs gone. And Ginger Generals, they're 10 for 1. So it's a fine start by Cinnamon Pieces with the run rate just 5. But then the required run rate is 9.25, and that's not necessarily very high.
Because the Duckworth Lewis pass score, as I said, is now 14. We saw a little conversation between the brothers. Probably the older one just chiding the younger one, saying to him, well, I think you went to bed too late last night.
Well, that was pulled down to the backward square for 4, just drifting maybe down the leg side. And Johan went inside the line. And he's a good sweeper and a good puller too. I think generally he plays well around the ground. And that's what you look at, whether a player is multi-dimensional or whether he's one dimension.
Yeah, well,
Pushed
that
up
one.
on the onside.
There's
So-
no one out on the mid-wicket boundary. And they managed to get it on square. There's a fielder behind square. 2 fielders, in fact, behind square on the left of the umpire. And, of course, Trey Duncan has a wide area to cover over there.
Asif Hooper, this team depends so heavily on him in both the batting and bowling departments and on the field too. Well bowled, really well bowled. That one had bonks, not much turn, but just seemed to jump, spat at him. He's off the back foot and pushes it out to extra cover and gets a single. Did they go for the single?
No, they didn't.
They didn't. No. Johan still striking. That one is just going past the diving effort of the bowler on his follow through. So that now completes the over. So 3 overs gone. It's 14 for 1. And 15 for 1. And the run rate is exactly 5. I don't think there's any need to panic here. at all, Justin, because as I said, the required run rate is still under 10. So the Ginger Generals will need a couple of big overs.
But it started at what, 8 point something, and it has now risen to 10. The Duckworth Lewis pass score now is 23. But one has to keeping an eye on that. It's what it goes to say though is that you're not quite up with the rate that the required run rate, and you would want to ensure that you're in the safe zone.
Lifts that. That's in the air and it's going all the way. That's gone for a carry power hit maximum. Fine shot. It was pitched up in the slot. And he came forward and just lifted that. So nice, really. Beautiful. Just freed his arms. He's going again, but this is in the air. Will the bowler take the catch? He's going after it. Oh, he dropped it, but he really had to make such coverage. Noel, I would think maybe about 20 yards running back and more so to the right. And got hands to it, spilled it, but you can't blame him for effort there.
Yes, he had to run about, well, in fact, he's just outside, in fact, a fraction outside the 30-meter circle. And he did pretty well to even get a hand onto it.
Yes, the ball hit down to backward point and results in a single. So, Johan Jeremiah has gone to 15 of 10. Gerald, his brother, is driving in the air, and that's going to go all the way, has it?
Yes.
It has 6 runs. It's a carry power hit maximum. That was a beautiful shot. Now, he's not as strong as his brother, but he got it from the meaty area of the bat. And he's just crossed his leg with some measure of confidence as if to say, I'm pleased with that shot. Yes, well hit. Off the back foot. Cuts. They get a single. Bit of a misfield there at backward point.
And the question is whether the ball even did carry to hand out there. It was hit in the air, didn't really keep it down. And we got a single.
Off the back foot, cuts, well, that goes for 4. Behind square on the offside. I like the fact that he delayed the shot. Eased onto the back foot and hit it late. And went down to the boundary for 4. So turned out to be a pretty good over there for the Ginger General. 4 overs gone. They're 35 for 1.
Yes, and they have certainly taken care of the scare of the Duckworth Lewis pass score. But Duckworth Lewis pass score now 29. So they're comfortably ahead now at for the moment, 35 for 1. And certainly not a bad start by the Ginger, although the Ginger Generals, although they have lost a wicket, they're still very comfortable. See the brothers again having a chat. What
Yes.
I suggested he still might be jiding him enough. Pastor, probably the younger one went to bed a little late last night.
Well, you know, there are some players, we know, of course, of Sir Gary Sobers, who was not the best sleeper. And we're told that the later he went to bed is the more prolific he batted. That's interesting.
So the story goes.
Yes, we've heard so many stories of Gary Sobers getting limited sleep at night and come the next morning and pulverize the opponent. Here is John. short on top of that one and cuts it down to backward point and gets a single. So Gerald Jeremiah's now gone on to 8, brings Johan, the more experience of the two, into strike. I think it should be pleasurable with these two brothers batting. They know each other very well, and they should be there to complement each other. And of course, Johan, the more experienced of the two, will have to play that mentorship role, short, outside the off stump and looking to cut. We've not seen the best of his batting in this tournament, Johan.
Yet, yeah.
But he's developing into such a fine player. Scored a century this year in the regional first-class tournament.
And by all reports, a lovely 97 in the recent West Indies Breakaway League tournament.
Yes.
Breakout League tournament. So it was one of the better batting displays in the tournament.
Yeah, I still would like to see him play some more longer version cricket, so he learns more of the dynamics of the game. But he's one of the better opening batsmen that we've got in the region now. Gerald sliding off the face of the bat, the outer portion, and goes down to third man for 6. It's gone for 6. Did it go all the way? Yes. Yeah, just look how it peeled off the edge. And they say it dropped just inside, didn't it?
It's possible.
That's what it looks like.
Umpire did, 6.
But it's 6.
Yes.
I thought it may have just dropped inside. It went all the way. They say if you're going to hit it hard, if you're going to flash, then flash hard.
But no, it does look that it dropped inside. So
dropped inside.
They may have to change.
Yeah, I thought that's what I saw. The umpire would be advised to change that.
Yes, about 2 feet inside. Well, it stands anyway.
So it's 4, not 6.
But he didn't. Did he change the? Did he change the signal?
Probably did. John just seemed to have missed his run up there.
Well, yes. Now he's checking. I think he may have gotten the indication from. Yes. Now his signal. He's changing the call from 6 to 4.
A little belated, though. Maybe it's the reason.
The dead ball.
So it's a dead ball. Yeah. Cuts down to the sweeper position. Gets a comfortable single. Gerald has been timing. Generally, it's looked pretty good in this inning. Looks positive, though. Brings the older of the two into strike. Johan. On the edge. I'm sure that their father would be somewhere out there, if not on the ground, but would be watching.
Yes,
He's given both sons as much support as possible. I'm very proud of both of them.
Well, I think if they know, if you know Mr. Jeremiah, he probably would be at his Sunday morning service. So probably would, if he's gonna be here, probably might be a little later. If
I did see him here in one of the games
days ago. Yeah.
Ready to support. So halfway through the innings, 5 overs gone. It's 43 for 1.
So Cinnamon Pacers were only able to muster 83 for 5. And at the halfway stage, I get the feeling that the Ginger Generals are rather comfortable in their chase. Johan Jeremiah is on 15, on 20. Gerald Jeremiah is on 13. And of course, the current run rate 8.6, which is ahead of what is required, 8.2. And it will be Regis.
Push back to the bowler. Gently.
A rare occurrence. Don't see too many defensive shots in that version of the game.
Lives that in the air. Goes
Oh,
down.
there's a
Catch
mighty
taken.
catch.
Great catch by John.
In fact, it's
Well, you had to time it well. Did tumble over. But the catch taken, looking to go over extra cover. Might have been advised to hit that straighter. And John came in,
Duncan,
took a good catch.
Che Duncan, yeah.
Oh, was it Che Duncan?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Che, sorry. Wasn't John?
He really has a safe pair of hands, Duncan. So Jeremiah has to go back. Of course, both Che Duncan and Ryan John they look very similarly built.
Yes. Really good catch, though.
Indeed, very, very good catch. But he has caught almost everything so far that has come his way this tournament. Very, very safe pair of hands.
And you want those players to be in strategic areas, the high traffic areas. You need to have your best fielders there.
43 for 2. The ploy of bringing Regis into the attack certainly have worked.
Outside the off stump, and ball is carted. They will come back for the second run. Just wondered whether that should not have been really cut off.
Yes, not a bit of fielding there. He probably wasn't sure whether to go forward or to go back. In the end, he went nowhere. And the ball went through him, and they picked up 2. In a tight game like that, you really can't afford this type of lapses in the field.
Eugene off the mark. Regis to Eugene. Bad delivery down the leg side. Confirmed as a wide by the umpire, who looks rather labored because he's got Regis's hat and other paraphernalia around his waistline. Rather cumbersome. Outside the off stump. Cuts down to backward point. They get a single. So we're into the 6th. There's 2 deliveries remaining. It's been a good over so far by Regis. He's kept it tight. He's captured 1 wicket. They get another single. Duncan comes off the boundary. Sends 2 bunts return back to the keeper. They get a single. They now need Ginger General 36 of 25. Shouldn't be hard to get. Couple of hefty blows could get them closer to the target. Gets inside the line and pulls that down to mid-wicket. Interesting shot that was, though. Because you would think a delivery that was full outside the off stump, you'd prefer to spank it through the offside. So 6 overs gone. And the Cinnamon Pacers, they're 49 for 2.
Yeah, 49 for 2. As I said, an interesting shot there by Eugene. Of course, the offside field is pretty populated. And choosing probably to go for the sweep and didn't quite get hold of it because I think it was so wide outside the off stump and so full he couldn't get a wrong done underneath it. And they've only got a single. So, here. So, Johan Jeremiah is on 25, 21. Jonel Eugene is on 4. Sean Regis after 1 over, 1 for 6. Current partnership is 6 from 4 deliveries.
Yeah, it's pretty dark now, Justin. We've been playing in great condition for the entire game so far.
I don't know if you can trust my eyes, like I'm seeing a few droplets, very light. And again, gotta take a look at the Duckworth Lewis situation. Duckworth Lewis pass score right now is 47. They're at 49 for 2.
So they're sitting pretty good. Huh?
They have to
Just
keep the eyes on
8.75 is the required run rate.
Well, this will certainly help our delivery. Hit me, please. Short outside, don't going down the leg side. And of course, Jeremiah. Of course, Eugene has taken full advantage of that.
Yeah, that was well struck. And hit hard too. Down to backward square. So there's no one on the boundary down there. So there was not a chance of cutting that off. It was a delivery that was much too short. That one was outside the off stump, and why on earth would Eugene want to tug that through the onside? Could have hit that down the ground. Maybe through extra cover.
Somewhere back over the top of the head of the bowler. Let's see if it's options.
Yeah.
With the Cinnamon striker staying close, keeping it rather tight. Of course, the Duckworth Lewis pass score now is 53. They're on 53 for 2. And as I say, it may well be a wise decision to keep your eyes on that.
Just a single. Some of these batsmen just really tried to hit the ball too hard, Justin.
Indeed.
They've moved away from the fundamental timing of the ball and trying to bludgeon, trying to put shoulders into the ball rather than timing the ball. And we see that's happening with most of our batters.
Saying is, get a feeling that there's nothing really between the two teams. The current run rate of 8.1 and of course the required rate of 9.
Now that's a good cricket shot. Just pulled a little way outside the leg stump and gave himself room and drove it off the back foot down to the sweeper position. Got a single.
55 for 2. But you just get the feeling that the Generals, they need an over to just break the game open. Break the game open. To further advance. Again, another full toss. And luckily, it hasn't been timed.
He hasn't really timed it particularly well, Eugene.
So
7 overs gone. And the Ginger General, they're 56 for 2.
So I'm staying with the Duckworth Lewis pass score of 54. So the 2 to the good. I think they would be talking a bit about that, and hearing the shouts from the various dressing rooms, I'm sure they're aware. Game awareness, they're aware of the state of the game and what you need to do. And especially with the weather as it is, though I mean it's overcast, yes, but snow or rain not at the moment.
Misty in the mountains
Yes,
ahead
yes.
to the north and northeastern range.
I think the weather comes from the back of us here.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's from the sea. As you pointed out, where you live, much of the rain comes from
From
the
the
sea.
sea. Yeah.
That's still the southeastern area of the country.
Probably just a little heavier, the droplets we're seeing. There is some rain around. Next few deliveries will be this over, I think, will be very, very important.
28 needed of 18 balls.
What they wouldn't want to do here is to lose another wicket, which would probably give the advantage, the Duckworth Lewis advantage to
Sorry,
the other
21.
team.
Sorry, I'm sorry about that, Justin. 28 needed in 21 balls, I reckon. 18, sorry. Three sixes are 18. My math went all over the place for a fleeting moment. I'm sorry. So we're in over number 8, bowled by Curtson Murray, who's had a pretty good
Rages, in fact. Yeah.
pulls that. That's going to go all the way. That's a big hit. That's gone for 6.
Yes. It's gone a long way into the pavilion area.
That's a huge hit. Over the long on area, rocked on the back foot. And he lifted it sweet. There was a nice sound of leather and willow meeting. And that went all the way. Good hit.
I think what is needed to just break things, just to establish a comfort zone for you.
Down the track and just drives that up to long on. Hooper comes off the boundary and sends the return back.
It's 64 for 2.
We're in over number 8.
Need 20 to win.
Eugene, who is 11 of 9, will take strike. A little adjustment. The sweeper pushed right back on the boundary. So there's a deep extra cover and a deep cover. There is a long off, long on a bit on the wider side. Square leg. Delivery called wide by the umpire. Reggie is trying to. He knows he's got support on the offside with the 2 sweepers there, so that's why he's going and outside the off-stop line. This time is just inside, left alone by Eugene, who maybe thought it was a wide.
Because it
So
went
it wasn't.
across, so I think that may have shifted the line.
Pulls that down to the deep mid-wicket area, and that's gone all the way. Maximums for a carry power hit. Shot. Bad delivery. Pulled it down. And he went under it and lifted it handsomely. And that went over the boundary. Fine shot by Eugene. Takes his total now to 17. Carry maximum. Power hit. We're in over number 8. 13 required in 13 balls. So it's a runner ball, so to speak. And if you're batting, you know that you've got the advantage here. Those 2 sixes would have just turned the tide. Regis, who started well, but it's gone for a couple of boundaries, so it's made his analysis sort of expensive, marred. Yeah, that delivery dropped just before it got to the fielder. Maybe Williams, the keeper, suggesting that a greater effort was needed. So the over comes to an end. And after the end of 8, 73 for 2. And the Ginger Generals, well, they require just 11 from 12, just under a runner ball.
Yes, and they would feel rather confident now. And barring any major mishap, one shouldn't see them losing this game. It's just get the feeling that a score of 83 just wasn't sufficient in these conditions.
Yeah, they needed another 20 runs to make it a really fighting total. So the Ginger Generals are looking for back-to-back wins. John.
Johannes missed out on a few of these deliveries short on outside the off stump.
He's going to use his experience and guile John to Jeremiah. Off the back foot. Cuts down to backward point for 4. Short, and he pounced on it and cut it well. Maybe a little bit more to a wideish third man. And that raced away. It was airborne for some time, couple of bounces, and then went over the boundary line for 4. Good shot.
Yes, it was well in control. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. As I said, he probably was trying to hit them too hard. He got a few deliveries similarly that he didn't make contact with. This time just watched it onto the face of the bat and guided it for 4.
Wide signal by the umpire.
Well,
that was really far. I think John is challenging that from the context that he moved
very early, so the line should have moved also. I think John is very right. He's an experienced man. As a signal.
But then again, Justin, it was so very wide. Yeah, there was a bit of movement initially by the batsman, but it was really sprayed wide outside the off stump.
But I thought the movement was quite exaggerated, and John certainly had a good case there.
Short rising camper. Delivery, 1 for the over, signaled by the umpire.
John is not a happy camper at the moment.
John has not been happy over the last couple of matches, really. He's been no ball several times. Driven down to the boundary, and that's gone all the way for 6. Well, he launched into a savage drive rather.
So that will take them to 84. That is what is needed. So
yes, did go all the way. So the Ginger Generals, they've won this game. And they've won it by 8 wickets. And with a canter over the victory line. And so that results in a back-to-back win for the Ginger Generals, having won yesterday. And they've won convincingly here today too. And they've won by 8 wickets. Just looking at the Pacers bowling, Joel Noel had 1 for 24 and Regis 1 for 23. And both of whom were the most expensive for the Cinnamon Pacers in regards to the bowling. So the victory target received or reached in 8.4 overs. So there was still an over and 2 deliveries legally remaining. And the Ginger General cantering over that target, 84 for 2. And it was a very good performance. The bowlers didn't have the sort of target they wanted. Maybe they had 105, 110. In the end, Johan Jeremiah not out 39 of 23, batted pretty well. And John L. Regis, good, nice, supportive role, 19 of 12. Matthew scored 9, 13 went to Gerald Jeremiah, 13 of 9. And they all combined to eclipse the total victory target, 84 achieved of 2. So that completes our first match today in the Spiceisle T10 Dream 11 tournament, and the Ginger General winning. Just no big challenge, sorry, for them, winning by 8 wickets.
So we will see for safety, the covers just been will come on to the team. In fact, the rolling is going on, not necessarily covers, but the rolling has started. And as we say, we too will probably take a break.
I'll just sort of linger a bit. There usually a post-match ceremony. Not sure if we're going to have that one today. The ground staff will be pretty busy monitoring. It is very hazy, rather dark, gloomy conditions because we've not had sun for the entire morning. So just to let you know that the
Rondell is not hit.
The Ginger Generals, they have won the game by 8 wickets. And so we're going to leave you here. And we're going to have, of course, our second match coming up a little later at 12:30 should be our next match. So come back to us and we'll be on hand to bring you. We've got a triple header for you here this afternoon.